Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do a very special episode for this coming Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year, but not only am I just going to MagFest later on this week, but it's also Christmas. I love everything about Christmas, from the music to the specials. So, while others list, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 picks for my favorite Christmas themed games. Now remember, not all of these games are really Christmas themed. Just as long as they have snow in them, then I will include them in this list. And some may have higher age ratings than others, so please be aware of that. Let's start off with the countdown. Number 10, Christmas Lennox. Of 1994, this game was released for the Amiga, MS-DOS, and the Macintosh operating systems. This game is basically a game that refers to a series of games, expansions, and demos with a holiday theme. The length of these games may vary because some of them even have as long as to 64 levels long, but there is not much to them. The original Lennox games were about getting humanoid lemmings past obstacles that design an exit. This was accomplished by lemmings skills such as digging, building ladders, and more. It was a very addictive and fun puzzle game, and you could tell by the audience of people that actually enjoyed it. Christmas Lennox is something that, with a snow or holiday theme environment, gives the Lennox little hats, little Santa hats, and that's really about it. Sometimes these Lennox can be pretty dumb though. Number 9, Christmas Nights into Dreams. Christmas Nights or Christmas Nights Sampler is a promotion sampler disc of Nights into Dreams that was originally released during 1996 of the holiday season for the Sega Saturn, and that also included the PS2. The Sega Ages release of the Nights into Dreams advertised as a mere sampler disc with a Christmas theme. The game is basically a multitude of exclusive bonus content and modes not available to the original version of the Nights into Dreams video game. Despite only having 2 variants of one stage, it is commonly viewed among Knights as fans as a standalone game, which is really nice. Number 8, Special Delivery. Santa's Christmas Chaos. We're going real obscure with this entry, but it's a game I remember fondly from my childhood. It was a Commodore 64 game with a simple premise and arcade-style gameplay. This game was the first game where you could ever play as Santa, and this was a pretty big deal when the Commodore 64 was an actual thing. You play as Santa on the Christmas night, but you must deliver presents to all the girls and boys, and even though you're just delivering presents throughout the entire game, there are separate game modes that get harder as the time moves on. So basically it progressively gets harder the more you play. In this game, you'll fly Santa's sleigh collecting goods and presents from angels and avoid the bad presents from the devils. Don't ask why. Also, flying selection, you'll occasionally drop presents down to the chimney to similar houses. When you see a large house and you can land on the roof for the second gameplay type of climbing down the chimney and avoiding the fire, which is the toughest part, assuming that this game was even tested. Then you'll have to sneak through the house and put the presents under the tree and avoid the sleepwalking children. Don't ask why the children are sleepwalking. It's just something. Number 7, Duke Nukem Winter War. Now why am I putting this on the list? Look, they got Santa hats. It counts. Duke Nukem Nuclear War is a pretty bizarre entry that has to just make this list. Nuclear Winter is an expansion pack for the already developed 3D Realms Duke Nukem. While it wasn't the best received expansion pack, it was definitely the most interesting. Basically, an alien horde in the original game is back, and this time they are brainwashed by Santa Claus. In this edition, Duke must face a new enemies known as the feminist Elven Matilia, don't ask me why, and the evil snowman. Duke Nukem has to go to the North Pole and stop Santa from making these evil maggots from completing the diabolical plan. This expansion pack is criticized because it doesn't really offer much, and also the story behind it is really out of whack. Pig and Frenches are back, and there are no more weapons. There are no new weapons. It's kind of disappointing. Duke does say some lines and does traverse some same locations from the original game, but the winter Christmas thing, however, this game really deserves a spot because Duke Nukem Same's Christmas is just a fantastic premise. Number 6. Frosty the Snowman, aka Frosty's Busy Night. This game came out for the Commodore 64. Frosty the Snowman, aka Frosty's Busy Night, was a free game package with your intro for the Commodore 64 if you got it during the Christmas season. The game is actually kind of similar to Dashing Desperados for the Sega Genesis, where the game is split into two and your goal is to race the other person from the other opponent's screen. In this platform racing game, you have to avoid obstacles. If you hit an obstacle or you land in the pit, you'll melt. For a free game, it's quite fun, and it's very competitive as you race and constantly look at your opponent's screen to see who's the closest to the goal. Number 5. Die Hard Trilogy. If it is Christmas, then we have to talk about Die Hard. Some people don't know the Die Hard series are Christmas movies, but the first and second were taking place in the holiday season, so they do count. Just like Gremlins, since the Die Hard Trilogy for the PlayStation 1 has 3 games, catch each were based on the 3 movies that came out, 60% of this game is actually Christmas themed, so it does count. I'm going to ignore the Die Hard with a vengeance for this list. The game Die Hard is basically a third-person shooter where you make your way through Nakatomi Plaza and shoot all the baddies trying to save your hostages. It's fun, but it is tough as the NES version of Die Hard, however. The second game is basically far the best. The game is for Die Hard 2, is on a rail shooter, and you're taken outside through this Dallas airport to stop terrorists, and one of my favorite light gun, or railgun. I've spent hours trying to get a little bit further and beating my score, but I haven't been really that successful. It's better than the NES game though, so I recommend you get this for the PlayStation 1. Number 4. Days Before Christmas. Now before you say anything, no, this is not a drug-induced game where Santa takes heroin. That game doesn't exist. Another game where you play as Santa Claus, yes, but this time you get to play as demonic Santa, which is awesome. Days Before Christmas was a game released in other countries for the Mega Drive or the Super NES. I just don't know how I could get my hands on this working copy. Instead I just got a reproduction cart. I think I got the modded Genesis or something back in the day, because none of the graphics here are a little more upscale than the previous version. An evil snowman has captured all of Santa's elves and reindeer. You have to help him, and thus save Christmas. Because that's a very popular title now in this kind of season. Also, you must destroy the evil Mr. Weather. Days Before Christmas is a solid platformer with a few issues, but it's still fun nonetheless. As mentioned above, you can play as Santa. You use Santa's magic to turn enemies into presents, and the best thing about the game is that Santa ingests coffee. He will turn into Anti-Claus. He'll be invincible and cannot pick up presents, but you must only attack with his sack. His package sack kills enemies. Okay. Number 3. Batman Returns. Oh no, don't you dare go start commenting in the comments. This is a Christmas game. Look in the background right here. Notice anything Christmassy? Yes. That's a Christmas tree and that's a present. So there you go. When people are talking about Christmas movies and games, this one is forever forgotten, because mostly it takes about place of Batman than actual Christmas. But Christmas is still spread out throughout the movie and game. Batman Returns was a beat-em-up released in numerous consoles. However, the version I'm most familiar with was the SNES version and the Sega Mega Drive version. This was a side-scrolling beat-em-up, very similar to the Final Fight series or Double Dragon 2. In this game, you play as Batman as you punch-kick members of the Red Triangle Circus Gang. In addition, Batman has numerous moves. He can also claim enemies in the background and use gadgets such as the Batarang, and the gameplay was broken up with dividing sections. The boss fights, however, really required good strategy if you wanted to beat them, which is really good for those who actually want a higher difficulty in most games. Number 2. James Pond 2. Codename Robocod, aka Super James Pond. No, not James Bond. James Pond with a P. James Pond 2, codename Rokoban, or Super James Pond. It was just called the States. It was a Christmas game often overlooked because it doesn't really pertain to Christmas. About the only thing Christmassy you'll get from this game is winter. But it's still Christmas. In this game, I'm going to be talking about the Super James Pond game for the SNES on this list, because it's one of the most games I'm mostly familiar with when I'm talking about Super James Pond. This game takes place right after the original James' rival, Dr. Maybe, has escaped and taken over Santa's workshop. He took Santa's workers hostage and converted them into evil. James Pond now must save Santa's workers and stop the Dr. Maybe once and for all. This game is a typical platformer with a few twists. There are a total of 15 levels in this game. James Pond has a robotic suit, which enables him to stretch his abdomen across the majority of the screen. This game is also fun with all of the vibrant colors here, and you get really into the Christmas mood, which is a very nice feeling. And the number 1 place is Home Alone for the Sega Genesis. There are a lot of Home Alone games that came out, but this game is very overlooked because this game sold out quickly, and this game isn't really found by much people. My favorite game from the Christmas season has to be Home Alone for the Sega Genesis. Many people don't like this game, but they're wrong, because this isn't the kind of Home Alone game that was for the Nintendo, the one that really sucked because you didn't know what you were even doing. This game, for the Sega Genesis, basically follows the film. Kevin must stop the wet bandits from stealing valuables. However, in this game, Kevin has to protect all of the houses from his street. Eventually, the cops will show up and save the day. Similar to the NES version, this game is all about time. You have to stop the wet bandits from robbing and flooding the homes in the street with a 20 minutes real time on normal difficulty, 40 minutes on hard, and 10 minutes if you're on easy. The wet bandits will drive over in their van looking for a house to burglarize. You will follow along in your sled, which is the best part of the game, until you decide on a house. Once inside, you must fill the wet bandits and fill the meter up before they can steal anything and flood the house. How will you fill this bay meter? Well, with guns, of course. Yeah, you can use a BB gun, a play rifle, or even a play RPG with a molder to defeat the bandits. And remember, you've got the classics like the bowling ball. So, don't worry, nostalgia's still in this game, gladly. I think this is my favorite Christmas game because I've got lots of Christmas games that I played when I was a kid. I remember playing this game in my living room with my family for hours. Christmas isn't just about things, it's about memories. Very true memories. I would like to thank you all for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Also remember to leave a like on the video, and I will see you in the next one. Merry Christmas! Let's just hope 2017's a lot better. You just got Christmas. Yeah! You get it? You don't get it? I'll see you in the next one.